we're delighted to welcome back, and I'm going, with a British education, I'm going to mangle your name. I do it every time, but we're delighted to have here Petros. You say your second name, Petros.
Christodoulou.
Christodoulou.
That's
right.
easy.
Well, I'm going to Greece on holiday this year, so I better learn get my pronunciation a bit better. But who until recently was Director General of the Public Debt Management Agency for Greece. Not an easy job. No. You lost half your hair actually doing
That's
it,
right.
didn't you?
The good thing is that I had lost it before I got into it. So
yeah. And you're heading back to the National Bank of Greece, I think.
that's correct.
Right. Okay. As in the
I'm
title.
going to be heading the international operations of MBG.
Okay. There might be a vacancy just a little bit above there. Someone tells me. Who knows?
I don't know. The
Well,
sky's the limit.
Yeah, right, we'll see. Okay, well, look, seriously, we obviously, we've been talking about Greece all day. There's quite a lot of gloom about the possibility of Greek exits from the Eurozone. What's your view? You saw the numbers. Can Greece make the numbers?
Well, look, I have to admit, over the past 2.5 years, everybody who's anybody in Europe has something to say about Greece.
Yeah.
So, it's a very simplistic answer, can we make the numbers or not? And first, it assumes that the numbers is something static.
Indeed.
And this picture is never static, is a very dynamic picture. Greece has been in a very difficult program for the past 2 years. Like all countries that are in a program, especially in the 18-month to 2-year mark, there is a natural fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
So people should be seeing things and reading statements in the light of this expected fatigue. And all the adjustments, a number of adjustments have been made along this time, and some adjustments might need to be made going forward. Like I said, it's a dynamic program. It's like when you go to a doctor, he gives you a medication, it works, it doesn't work that well as he had expected, he tweaks it, gives you something different, or a slightly different dosage, and eventually he tries to get it right. And this is something very natural, so it's not like a black and white answer, it's a dynamic thing, and the most important thing here is that 2 years into the program, people have shown, despite the fatigue, despite the pain, that the resolve is still there to go through more of the same, to put their faith in Europe, and to keep working on it. At the same time, it is apparent to everybody that some things need to be done differently on the program side, on the Greek side, to strike the right balance and the right result.
It's a very common argument that that Greece, the majority of people in Greece want to stay in the euro, but they're not prepared to do the things that will allow it to stay in the euro. Do you think that's a fair criticism?
I will answer you with another question. Do people pay taxes because they want to or because they have to? Okay? People around the world, and I have lived in my life in the US, in Canada, in the UK, and in Greece. They pay because they feel they have to, and they're going to get away with it if they don't pay. So it's a matter of not being a good Christian or Muslim or Jew, whatever, is a matter, and having to pay your taxes. It's a matter of like operating in an environment where it's set up properly that you don't even have the question in your mind.
So do you think then that this new government will actually have the legitimacy to do whatever needs to be done to continue with the program?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There is indeed a chunk of Greek people who are under the strain of pain, financial pain. They feel that they cannot have it, more of it. It's like any patient who you're telling him you need to take more of this medication. He says, I can't have it anymore. Okay. So it's very totally justified if you look at it in the light of the fatigue that's all too expected, if you like. But I think that all we need is the correct technical assistance. And why am I saying assistance? Because if Greece knew what was expected, well, they know what's expected of them. If they knew how to do it, we wouldn't be here. Okay. So, and if if they had the systems, and if they had this proper setup to make these new deliverables, to deliver them, what's expected of them. And I think that there is a great degree of technical assistance that is necessary. Might be, when I say technical assistance, this is on 3 levels: the idea, working out how to be done, and possibly get some people on the ground.
Okay. I suggested this morning that Germany, instead of just sending money, ought to send tax inspectors, because you're short of trained tax inspectors. Do you think? Do you think that's politically acceptable?
I think that for all the people in Greece who are paying taxes, and you're looking at one.
I didn't mention Greece and tax.
Yes, you did. I would be the first one to say it would be very welcome to get all sorts of technical assistance and people on the ground. It's like people giving you a new IT system. They don't just hand it to you and say you're plug and play. They usually have some people showing you how to correctly or optimize its usage.
Petros, you more than almost anyone else have actually seen the numbers. Technically, how much can you actually trust the numbers in the Greek public system nowadays? Do you actually
very
know?
Much so. Very much so. Greece is the most X-rayed country on earth. Okay, that's the only thing that we know for sure. We went through a period where there was all sorts of gray in our public finances. Now we've been through every X-ray system there is. So, and too many people have their careers at stake if our statistics are not correct.
Okay. What in terms of the debt service that Greece now has to do after the PSI? How sustainable is it? How sustainable are the figures?
The problem is not with the debt service, because now you're looking at a debt to GDP that is somewhere like 115% of debt to GDP at the end of 2020. Now you might say, well, you're still over 100. But if you just put the public, just give you an idea how you don't have to look at numbers only, because if the pension funds in Greece who got cash, quasi-cash via EFSF notes, the 1 and 2 year EFSF notes, they switched and they bought government debt with this cash. All of a sudden you have a debt to GDP inside 100% in 2020, because all of a sudden all this would be intergovernmental debt. Intra-governmental debt.
Right, okay.
So the issue is not the size of the debt now, because and people all too often stick to the size of the debt. That's not the issue. If you have big debt and you have like debt maturing in 25 years, it's different than having debt maturing in 3 to 5 years. So the debt to GDP as a number was always thought, because people always assumed they had maturities inside 5 years. Okay, if you have your debt beyond year 10, then that's a big issue taken care of. The rate we're paying is very low. Okay, so it's a rate a number of people on this panel before would have loved to have. So this is not the issue. The issue is growth.
Well, I was going to come on to growth. Where are we going to get growth in Greece? And what can be done to spur it?
There is some short-term measures and some medium-term measures. Short-term measures, all the disbursements that Greece has been receiving or was meant to receive from the program were designed as such to exert the maximum pressure on Greece in the period up to and including the election. Okay?
To keep Greece on track, as it were.
Greece has been hanging from its thigh for the past long time. The state has been running arrears. If the state is running arrears as a major client of the business community, that means deprives working capital from the corporate sector.
Crowds it out.
Okay. So there is hardly any working capital to be left in commercial environment in Greece, if you like. So the first thing is that now that Greece is, and the Greeks have reasserted their commitment to the Eurozone, and they've put their faith on the table, now the time has come to allow some of these disbursements to go through, which has been budgeted. I'm not talking about new money. It's in the budget. It's in the 130 billion of the second package. So this is going to give some liquidity into the system. One. Second, you need to put, as people get comfortable with the idea of Greece staying in the euro, a lot of you see, Greeks cannot sleep very well these days.
They never were big sleepers anyway, were they?
True.
Yeah.
Now for different reasons.
Yeah, right.
Now because the mattress is very hard because it's full of banknotes.
You're right.
Okay. So you need to get the bank. Now the moment people feel confident they're going to be in the Eurozone, all this money is going to go back into the system.
Yeah.
That's good. Liquidity is going back into the system. Of the 60-70 billion that has left Greece, has left the banking accounts, hardly more than, I would say, 2/3 of that is in Greece.
Yeah.
In the Greek geography.
So just to get this right, there are two different types of capital flight, and they are important. They are different in an important way. One is capital flight from those Greeks who have the ability to place money overseas. That money is overseas. You're saying that there's a lot of money still there that is still actually in Greece, but under the mattress, as you
That's
say.
correct. That's correct. It's not that because people were not able to take it out. It's because people chose to leave it there. I'm not talking about the big millions.
Yeah.
You know, not many Greeks have too many millions. It's just all the people who have the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 euros.
It's going to take a lot of time to get that confidence back, though, surely. This isn't a short-term thing.
True, but you know, the last 2 days, there's been a lot of influx of money into the banking system.
Right, there has.
Yeah, so, and it's something that feeds onto itself. So it's as long we get a government in place today or tomorrow, latest, and I think that the agreement of the three major parties, the three big parties, is there for to form a government. I think people will believe that now the last thing Greeks want is another set of elections. So people need to, they say, we've had it with the elections. The last thing they want to see is another politician on the screens, on TV screens. So they want to get on with their lives and somebody to just show them that at the end of all this difficult time, there is going to be light at the end of a tunnel. But that's not only them who want to see that. Every creditor of ours wants to see that. The official sector wants to see that there is light for Greece, because don't forget we have about 300 billion of debt at the moment, of which only 63 billion is in private hands. So the rest of the money is in the official sector. The taxpayers of various other countries who are at the moment running a very nice spread of 3-4% on our back, okay? They would like to see their principal back. So everybody has a vested interest to have growth at the end of the day.
Well, you talked about the official institutions. Let's talk about those. The Troika, for example. Looking back, you obviously saw what was going on in the negotiations. How would you rate the Troika's performance on a score of 1 to 10, 10 being fantastically helpful to Greece, flexible, 1 being, how shall we say?
Let me stop you there.
Tough.
I'm not going to answer this question. They obviously have been very helpful, okay? We need to, but no matter how helpful they have been, until you get the result, the expected result, that's where the proof is in the pudding at the end of the day. If you put all the right ingredients in there, but you don't have a final product, something has gone wrong, you still don't have it.
Could they have done anything better?
For sure. I mean, that applies to everybody. And anything that anybody around in this room has done in his job yesterday. Everybody could have done something better, okay? But, and I think that I was talking about these modifications. I was talking about a dynamic system that people say, for example, you need to increase taxes. Okay, jack up VAT. You jack up VAT, oops, you have such a recession, and all of a sudden you see you have 60% of the VAT revenues. Looking at it, say, oops, what have we in our budget what we did wrong.
And Greece is not the only country making that mistake.
We were supposed to be in positive territory, and you have a 5.5% sort of recession this year. And all this, in everybody's plans, no one had expected over the last 3 years, including 2012, we would have a 20% cumulative recession.
No, absolutely.
And in the middle of a 20% cumulative recession, have an increase in tax revenues. I mean, I'm sure there is not ill meant, but some design faults, and I think everybody has to, in good faith, look at what could be done or can be done differently, not to go back and judge people, just what needs to be done going forward. I think it goes without saying that people need to see some light at the end of a tunnel, maybe distant, but they need some light, you know.
Do you think some of that light at the end of the tunnel might be provided by a renegotiation of the terms? And do you think that's possible?
I have a very short period in governments, if you like, good government, the other governments, but I know that things that we're discussing back in 2010 and things that were said that were totally unthinkable, not only they were done, not only they were doubled and tripled, but they all of a sudden you look back and say, oh my God, you see, we have covered a lot of ground. Okay, it's not me saying that, European officials have said that. So the key thing here is there are no, well, I shouldn't say, it's not that there are no hard lines or red lines, it's just that people need to see that there is a goodwill to move forward and apply. And if people see that something is a measure that is in the public's interest, they will apply it. We need good systems, okay? If you see, for example, that you have a tax collection system that is structured in a way, including people, that is not efficient, to just go up and jack up the tax rate, it's not going to help you, okay? To say to people that you need to sort of collect more taxes and somehow tell them that if they were the intermediate link in getting some money for their own pocket along the way, the tax collectors, if you like, okay, you have to find a solution that if you tell the same guy, go get more taxes, implying he's going to get paid less, somehow you come up with a system that can circumvent the guy and still get you the money. Otherwise, the guy is not going to implement it. I mean, it's a design fault. So, and obviously, you can always be the Monday morning referee and say, oh yeah, this should have been done differently. But that's why I'm saying it's a dynamic thing, and everybody around the table, first of all, our official partners have taken faith by the results of Sunday. And now everybody in good nature and goodwill will come forward to sit back and sit down and see how we can implement better measures.
Petros, you've talked quite movingly, I think, and very eloquently about what you think needs to be done and the kind of level of trust and hope that needs to be built up again. But you're a banker by trade. Your numbers are your game. Do you, in your heart of hearts, think that Greece will make it, that it will be able to stay in the euro?
Yeah, yes. And I'll tell you why. Greece, at the end of the day, is more of an example for the rest of Europe. It's used to be 2.5 European GDPs, now 2. Is an odd lot, okay? It's not an issue. In terms of numbers, it can easily be supported. It can easily be made a success story. And if you like, in the lab, we are the guinea pig that people are working on us to see, because they know that the market, you lot, are looking what the official section will do to Greece, because they read, it's like the latest episode of, other TV series that have started for other people elsewhere, that are in much earlier series.
Exactly.
So the issue is to make sure that, as Karl-Heinz said before, you don't give a drunk more drink to drink, but you just need the proper help. Nor can you tell him don't drink. I mean, thank you very much. He knows most likely, but you need to help him, empower him to be able to do that. And I think this is something that everybody would agree to. Everybody has recognized that we have not done enough the program did not have enough growth measures in there. Okay, so and I think that in terms of the cost cutting, a number of the areas that need to be improved, we need technical assistance and people on the ground. Could be in terms of running hospitals more efficiently, could be in running the tax collection more efficiently, could be in many other areas of public procurement that we could do it more efficiently. At the end of the day, something that saves money, every Greek taxpayer would love it and support it.
And do you think it's quite a while since Greece has been in the public capital markets? When do you think Greece will issue a normal Eurobond again?
Of the old sort or the new sort you were discussing here before?
Let's assume there's only the old style Eurobonds, the ones that you used to describe as Eurobonds.
I know usually. Let's walk before we run. Okay. I'm not going to make another projection only to be proven wrong in the future. At the moment, we're not close to contemplate something like that. It would be a joke to even give you like a 5-year term or a 10-year, horizon. I think, and that's my very personal view, that by the time Greece is going to be back in the market, most likely we'll have a different Eurobond market.
Right, interesting. Petros, thank you very much for that. When I come through Athens in August on my way to my holiday in Crete, I will be okay to use National Bank of Greece ATM?
Absolutely.
As long as I've got the cash,
Absolutely.
obviously.
Plus, I heard that this morning you were out and bought Canadian dollars, so you can use these to go to Canada. But to be honest,
I'd rather go to Greece.
We're not proud. Come in and bring any currency you like. Okay? Thank you.
Petros, good luck. Thank you.